so dark? Our light is changing so much. Like usually when I start at this time here, it's like already dark, but still light out. It's getting closer and closer to summer. I'm so excited. Excited to show you guys my next Sabbath video that's going to be out pretty soon. Oh, I forgot to check my Wi-Fi. Hang on. Sometimes I have it connected to the wrong Wi-Fi, which I totally do right now. I might lose you for some. I don't know what it does during the replay. You have to tell me if you're watching replay what that does. If it like freezes me or if it ends up recording the whole thing. So welcome you guys. For those of you in the Patreon member level, you guys have not seen me in a long time. I know because 2 weeks ago we were supposed to have a live night, but I was so sick. Like I was so sick I couldn't even talk. Like it hurt to talk. It was bad. So that's why I wasn't here. And if you're ever wondering like where the heck I am, usually I update you guys through Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do, because if there is something weird that comes up, like I got really sick, then I'll let you guys know if something is canceled. Otherwise, you can go on my website at any time. I have an events link and you can see when I'm going to be live. Next, hello everyone. So many people joining us. I want to know, was it helpful? Did you guys see this live video before it like popped up? Like I premiered it like yesterday and it said like coming soon or whatever, and you could click set reminder. I don't know why I haven't ever like done that. It's so easy for me to schedule these ahead of time. I'm going to start doing that. So then that way, if you guys see it a couple days before, you can hit the set reminder button. You guys know, okay, she's definitely going to be on next Tuesday or whatever. So I am going to start doing that. But yeah, if you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe. The video for this week is going to be all about your reading space and where you do intuitive work and why that is so important, like the location that you do it in. But tonight we are specifically going to talk about the Ashelon Oracle. The theme of tonight is this deck, and that is because I basically did a collab with the artist who made this deck, and his name is Chaz Kemp, and Creative Crits, which is my husband's YouTube channel. We did kind of a video over there, and I will share it in the comments below. I meant to do that ahead of time, but I totally forgot. Well, you guys actually should see it on my community page. That's where it is. But there's a video up there, and basically I did a review on this Oracle deck. So if you want to see it a little bit more in depth, you can watch it over there. But I'm actually going to be using it tonight, so you're going to see the artwork. We're going to go over it a little bit. And anytime I get a new deck, I always like make a night out of it so that, you know, if you guys are looking for a new deck, you can see what they're like before you end up purchasing it, which can be super helpful. I've made the mistake before buying decks without actually like watching like a video online about it. Because most people will like do just like a really quick flip through, like a overview camera if you're ever like looking at a deck, but you don't know if you'll like the artwork. But the Patreon members, we had a Patreon member only night last Tuesday, and they basically got to see me unbox this tarot deck, which is literally my new favorite tarot deck. We're going to use it tonight, but I'm not going to be doing the unboxing or really talking about it. If you really want to see that, you can join the Patreon and go rewatch that last week's video. So I'm going through my update because I know I'll get distracted by the chat, but I'll get to you guys. Let me set a timer for our members. So if you are a YouTube member, you have a chance of getting a free reading tonight. Okay, and that timer is started. And then I think, is that it? Yeah, other than that, you guys, if you don't already know about my Patreon, I just wanted to quickly describe the difference, because last week we had a lot of questions about Patreon versus YouTube memberships, and we used to have YouTube memberships, but I switched over to Patreon. However, it's kind of confusing because I kept one YouTube membership, which is literally just 99 cents is the lowest you can go. And that's basically so you can have little badges by your name. Your name is green, and you have cool emojis that you can use for exclusively. Everything else, though, is through Patreon. So if you want if you want early access to my videos, that's through Patreon. That's like the first tier. You also get to vote on upcoming stuff, whether or not you want to see it. The tier above that, sorry, I got my door open. Hopefully that's not too loud. But the tier after that, we have Q&A videos every single month. So people send in their questions about psychic development or about, whatever they want me to talk about. And I basically answer your questions and put it up in a video every single month. And that is a tier with our Patreon memberships. Tier above that is the member-only live nights. Tier above that, you actually get a group reading every single month. And it's kind of an extensive reading, me going really in depth on, what's coming your way. So that's on Patreon. It's not on YouTube anymore. So if you sign up for a YouTube membership, you're not going to see any of that. You'll want to go over to Patreon. That's always in my link tree. Anyway, that's it. That's it for my announcements, I think. And we're going to get into the Ashelon Oracle and tonight's group reading, and then we'll get into individual readings. I'm just going to catch up on this chat. Did I pin this? Yes, I did pin it. Okay. Hello, Karen. Hello, Silly Rabbit. Howdy from Florida. I am going to be in Florida in 3 months. I'm so excited. Hey, Cheyenne. I am feeling much better now, but gosh, it was like my husband was even like offering to like chat and hang out because he knows that's like my love language. I really like to talk. And he was like offering, he's like, tonight is like, we can hang out tonight. I was like, I literally like can't speak. Why did it have to be tonight? Hello, Taylor. I feel like we just saw you on Patreon. I know. Isn't that nice with the Patreon? You guys get me a lot more often throughout the month. I've even been thinking about doing like monthly tarot card pulls, adding that to some of the tiers, just so you guys hear even more from me every month. Let me know if you want to see that, Patreon members. You kind of got sick too. Yeah, I wonder, because like mine was totally that my husband went somewhere else, got sick, brought it home, got me sick. It's better, the notification. Yes, I saw the reminder. Okay, I'm going to keep doing that. So a couple days before every live night, you should see a little thumbnail that's like coming soon. So if you hit the like notification bell on that specific video, it will tell you as soon as I go live. I'm glad though, because we have a lot more people in here right away. I definitely think that it worked. Hello, Lori. Per usual, I'm making myself food. All right. Can I PayPal you? I don't have PayPal connected. Chloe! Shut up. Chloe Taylor is in my live stream. Stop it. You guys, if you haven't seen Chloe's channel, I talk about her all the time because I love her channel. I'm in her Patreon membership. You guys know I'm picky with like my psychic. I shouldn't say picky, but like, I talk about psychics a lot and, ethics and all of that. And I think Chloe is definitely one of those you should be checking out if you haven't already. New to your channel, do you teach mediumship classes? Yes, I do, Denise. So I offer courses. So I do psychic courses. Actually, you know what, Denise? I'm sorry, I don't, but I'm going to. Right now I have a basic psychic skills course. It's kind of like the introductory course that you should take. And then I have animal communication. And then I'm building right now a psychic development masterclass. Like it's like a big course. I'm building it. I wanted to do that one next. But basically, animal communication, mediumship, also medical intuition are going to be kind of like these little add-ons that you can do on the side. Because I know not everyone wants to study to be a medium. Not everyone wants to do medical intuition or animal communication. So those are kind of like add-ons. And you can see all of those on my website. Welcome, Patty. For me, it was a sickness. It was less sickness, more clumsy accident. Oh, no. Bonus. Alrighty. So tonight, again, we got this new deck. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it because that was like the whole thing was with Chaz. We're going to kind of make a night of it when that video went live. So the videos in my community page. Basically what this is, I am not a D&D nerd. My husband is. He runs a whole channel. He loves D&D. He hosts campaigns. He's got several other campaigns going. So if you happen to be into that, I would say absolutely check out their channel. But they also do like review videos on tabletop gaming and basically just, anything that's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons related. And if you like that, if you're into it, you're going to love this, because this Oracle deck can be used both. Sorry if you can hear that siren. I just have to keep this door open because I'm super hot right now. But this is used as both a D&D character creation guide and an Oracle deck. So just a real quick spiel about it. So each of these cards, which I'll talk about these two cards in a second. Each of these cards is basically a character and artwork created by Chaz. So he has drawn I can't remember how many cards are in here, but he's drawn every single one of these. You can get these as individual prints. But what's cool about this is he made his own suits. So, if you've played with the tarot, there's 4 suits, and there are 4 suits in his, but they don't go by the traditional tarot suits. He made his own up, which I think is so cool. He basically has the Court of Gears. There's the Court of Love, and you can kind of see it around this gear right here. The Court of Fairies, is one of them. Court of Fairies. And then Court of Dreams, did I say that one? So those are the 4 courts, and he has kind of an explanation in his book on what each of those suits are about. I have only read with this a few times, so I'm just kind of reading them intuitively tonight. I do not have them memorized. But what's cool about his deck is that he gives this little QR code right here, and you guys could actually scan it and go look at it right now if you wanted to. But he gives the Oracle deck guidebook free. So you could buy it through Etsy, I think is where he sells it. Or you can just get it free on your phone, which is really cool because not a lot of people do that. They charge extra for it. And it just comes with another blank card. That's if you lose one. What else did I want to say about these? It also has numbers on it. So if you're a numerology fan, there's numbers to read. I know I'm missing something else, but he wants to do add-ons eventually. So what's cool about the Ashelon Oracle is that eventually he's going to make a whole new suit, and he's going to have basically these add-ons, and you can create your own Oracle deck. And as far as using it for D&D, or if you are a writer, it doesn't have to be D&D specific. It's system neutral is what he says. So that means any game system, you can pull out his guidebook. Again, it's in that video. And you can pull a random card. You're like, hey, I want to build a character. Which character should I build? And so we got this rejection card. And so you would open up his book, roll a d20, and go into, what rejection is about your character. So maybe it's your character flaw, for example, is they maybe reject a lot of people, or maybe they encounter rejection a little bit more than most. Like anytime they try to do something, they often get turned down. So it's like a way to add depth to your characters, both for writers, for tabletop gamers. I hope it makes sense. If you're really curious about the gaming side of it, we walked through the whole deck in that video. So again, that's on the community tab of this page. But we're going to be reading with it tonight. And yeah. And I'm also going to be reading from the Chromatic Fates Tarot just because I loved it so much. And so with our live nights, we start every live night doing a group reading. So that way, if you're catching us replay or if you missed me, you've got a reading at the beginning for you. And then after that, we just do individual readings. People usually donate for a reading. And if they don't donate, then we just kind of do guessing games and we give out readings for free until I'm all done here. So you bought one for your brother, Janet? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I'm going to have to tell my husband because he does a lot of review videos, but he's always like, I don't know if people are even going to like the stuff I review. saw your video on it. So cool. Yeah, it was super cool. Thank you guys for watching it. Hey, Michael. Gonna lurk while I set up a pickup card. Oh my gosh. That's so cool. I'm such a fangirl of Chloe. I'm gonna try not to be a weirdo about it. Also, I know I've got a ton of announcements tonight, but I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Whoever sent me these, I still don't know who you are. Thank you so much. I kind of did a thank you post on my Instagram and Patreon, but just in case you guys aren't on there, I wanted to say thank you. You know, I totally understand wanting to like stay anonymous, but if this was you, thank you so much. I basically got these new Disney Princess affirmation cards. I probably won't be using them on my channel because they're literally made for little kids, but I do a lot of events in person and sometimes there are kids there. So this is just going to be fantastic to use for them because then I'm kind of not crossing a boundary of like reading into their life or, you know, kind of spooking them, kind of, you know, keeping it light, keeping it easy, keeping it fun. And so there's like affirmation cards in here. There's conversation starters. There's games and activities. I think it's a very unique deck specifically for kids. And I'm going to be using this too with like my son, my future daughter, which I hope to have. So these will be well loved. And then the Talking to Heaven Oracle cards, these are basically mediumship cards and they're used in place of like talking to a loved one in spirit, if that makes sense. And I already had like a bootleg copy. I bought one off of ALI Express because I was like, oh, I'm just buying it directly from the distributor. And I was totally wrong. And it was just like a crap copy that people were like basically taking pictures of these and then selling it as like a crappier version. And I had no idea. So I finally got a real version. Thank you. Whoever it was, thank you though. I just wanted to make sure. Love the artwork. Yes, and Chaz's artwork is just incredible on this. I can't believe he made each and every one of these. They're super cool. I used to use the spell cards from D&D for my practice. That's awesome. And I've heard, I know what you're talking about because my husband has those. So I thought this was such a cool idea. So I did not draw out our piles yet because I wanted to show you guys the deck. So I'm just gonna, they are pretty darn stiff. I'm not even gonna be able to shuffle them that way. But I'm gonna do 3 piles. So what you can do right now is ask your guides for this kind of like group reading night. What do you need to know most right now? Which pile is meant for you? Pile 1, 2, or 3. We just kind of do these quick. I kind of like doing the pick a card style. And hopefully, I mean, I read this in the video. They're pretty easy to follow, to be honest. They're basically one word, very generic. Pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. People actually pay him to host the games? Oh, no way. That's basically kind of what my husband almost does now. I hope he loves it too. You'll have to let me know. Will you put the children cards in your chat, please? I want it for my grandkids. Yes. And I actually have one other called the Children's Spirit Animal deck. And that one is really popular at the events I do because each one is like a different animal. But these are the Disney Princess affirmation cards. And there's 52 of them. And I do have an Amazon list of like all the decks that I use. If you're ever like wanting to find one that I did, you can go to my link tree and you should see like a page that's like all the decks that I use. And this Chromatic Fates one is like my new favorite tarot deck. Basically, each one of these cards, they gave an different artist a color. And that's all they gave them. And they said, design this card. And each one of these is basically drawn by a different artist. Okay, so sorry, normally I do this ahead of time, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got to see me unbox it. Unbox it. Ashelon Oracle. And one more. Hello, Priya. The animal deck in your list. It's for kids and it's called the Children's Spirit Animal Cards. I think I did a review on it a long time ago if you ever want to check it out. Numero tres. Gosh, we got a lot of sirens going on today. I guess normally I keep this door closed. Ooh, okay. Last card pull, and then we'll get into individual cards or individual readings after we're done, and that's kind of how we run these nights. So, pile number 1. You guys, pile number 1, I feel like, so I got compassion in reverse. So I'll let you guys get a good look at this Ashelon Oracle card. This is the Court of Love. That makes sense with compassion. And I also pulled it alongside the Star, also in reverse. And to me, I'm just kind of feeling like you guys have been beating yourself up maybe a little bit. I feel like you don't have a whole lot of hope, especially with the number 5 coming through. I'm kind of getting that there's just been struggle lately, and you guys could be a little bit more compassionate with yourself. Like, I feel like my guides are wanting me to pull more on this, but you've been going through a lot, and instead of kind of taking stock of where you were before and where you're at now, it's kind of like you guys have come so far, and yes, you're not exactly where you want to be, but when you don't have hope and when you don't give yourself that love and compassion, and what I'm hearing your guides saying is just being like more gentle with yourself, I think that that's needed for you to kind of move forward and feel better. And I feel like what you see as challenging is not necessarily, life going all the wrong ways. It's more that you're just not more gentle with yourself. You're holding yourself to too high of a standard, and maybe there's some pessimism going on. And your guys really, the Star card is basically about hope and trying to get more into the space of hope. And alongside compassion, this to me, of course, that person calls me right when I start streaming. I had a business call that I needed to make. And the compassion card, the two of these next to each other, this is just like, give yourself a little love, give yourself compassion. Things take time is what I'm hearing, and you guys are being way too hard on yourself. And I also pulled It's Time to Take Action, New Moon and Aries in reverse. This to me, I'm just kind of reading them very literally with the reversals, and I'm feeling like don't stress out about going. It's okay. You guys can take a break, take rest. You guys have been going for so long, and that's why you're draining yourself and not giving yourself enough time to just chill and breathe. And I'm also just getting another message too. If you feel like it's the opposite and you've been kind of sitting on your ass a little too much, this is, saying maybe how you can get out of this is kind of putting it into action, getting off your butt, getting stuff done, if that makes sense. All right, let's move into pile number 2 for the group reading. Ooh, I love this card. This is like a samurai, like he's a steampunk samurai guy. Perfection. And I will say a lot of this is very steampunk influenced, the Ashelon Oracle. And I got perfection. This is the Court of Gears. I can't remember. I think the Gears was very much, he kind of akin to actually to the Pentacles, very practical, like getting things done. And then we got the Queen of Swords next to, and I haven't pulled this one from this tarot deck. So we have Queen of Swords and Perfection. Okay. And then You Are Good Enough, pile number 2. I feel like we're getting a lot of pep talks tonight. I didn't really set a theme or sometimes we talk about the energy that's coming up, but this is just where you guys are at right now and what you need to know. And I feel like pile number 2, you guys have been nitpicking yourself a lot, but it's kind of it's not necessarily bad. Like the Queen of Swords, to me, this is saying that you guys have really been doing the inner work, especially around your thoughts, your, what you're trying to accomplish right now. And you're kind of being a perfectionist about it, which can be helpful at times, but sometimes when we go too far down the path of being perfectionist, we get into stalling or analysis paralysis, where we don't take action because we're analyzing and everything must be perfect before we do anything. And I don't feel like you guys are doing this. I feel like this is more of a not a warning as much as like, hey, keep doing the inner work around what needs to be done. You are strong. Kind of what needs to happen to move forward to get the things that you want out of life next. But avoid the perfectionist. Avoid that inner perfectionism. Don't take it too far to where you're kind of, again, over analyzing and not like taking, what am I trying to say? Don't take it to the point where you're not taking action because you're being so super critical of yourself. And the fact that we got the "you are good enough" card with this to me says, like, if you're leaning more into the energy of like, I need to fix things because I'm not good enough, I'm not doing it well enough, perfection, like Virgos are all about perfection. This energy like makes so much sense to me. I really feel like this is basically just saying, take a step back, again, take a breather. As long as you're not getting too far into that and you're being loose with it and you're not so worried about making everything perfect, controlling the how things are manifesting, I think you guys are going to be great. But I think they're trying to get you out of the mode of the analysis paralysis. I think that's the big one that I'm hearing. Right. Needed to hear this, Lauren. Haha, phone call. Isn't that always perfect how that works out? Perfectionism is a mask for fear of failure. Yes. What's her name? Speaks so well to it. Brene Brown. And I couldn't remember her quote as of this moment, but she's talked about how it's actually, yeah, I can't even quote it, but she's a good one about it. I need a pep talk, and I'm a Gemini perfectionist trying to get out of my head. Okay, I'm glad it resonates. I feel like I'm stumbling on these because I didn't exactly have a question when I pulled these. I just kind of pulled them. All right, so pile number 3. This is the same card that I pulled in the video. This is artificial. This is a geisha, and this is the Court of Gears again. And then we got the 3 of Swords. And new moon in Cancer, you and your loved ones are safe. Oh, pile number 3. Like the overall energy that I'm getting from this, like it feels like drama, it feels like heartbreak, it feels like there's a lot of fear around your stability, around your home, your family, your life, especially with this, you and your loved ones are safe. I think there's a little bit of worry about your future right now. And I think it's coming from a place of love. I feel like with the 3 of Swords, this is usually because we want to protect, we want to help, but I feel like you guys are staying a lot in the negativity of it maybe. And because of that, it's really pulling you down. But the artificial card, I just want to pull a clarifier on there. Okay, I'm just going to say it how it is. Pile number 3, I feel like you guys are staying in the drama because the drama is fun sometimes. The drama it's hard to get away from. And I feel like what's happening here is I feel like you guys are catastrophizing. I feel like you're sort of looking at your life in a victim mentality sort of way and kind of saying, all these things are happening, all these things are wrong, no one's safe, no one's protected, I'm not feeling good about every time I get on live, sorry, I get like 500 notifications. Everyone wants to call me. And I'm using my phone over here for the timer for our membership reading. But I feel like this is kind of saying like, hey guys, are you keeping yourself in this energy of catastrophizing, of imagining the worst case scenario? And I kind of feel like that's the case. And so, yeah, it feels like there's a lot of drama. It feels like there's a lot of heartbreak. It feels like there's not a lot going well for you. and it's making you feel unstable, unsafe. And your guides are kind of trying to say, hey, like, you're safe, you're protected. This is a viewpoint thing. This is how you're seeing it. And if you're constantly kind of sitting in the energy of negative people, of negative emotions, or not emotions, negative situations, I should say, and if you're kind of allowing it to drive your life, I feel like your guides are kind of like, well, it's going to keep happening. Like, what you allow in is going to be attracted more in your life. You know, the people that you spend the most time with in your life, the energy that you have around you the majority of the time, that's what you're telling the universe you're okay with. And so you're going to attract more. So I feel like this heartbreak, this sense of unease or lack of safety is kind of in your mind. And if you can kind of get around saying, no, you know, I'm going to draw a boundary here. I'm not going to entertain this anymore. You're going to find that things will feel a little bit more secure and safe. Gosh, I feel like this was all like mental pep talk stuff. That's what you get for not asking a question when you draw. It's whatever you guys needed to hear most. All right, I hope that made sense, you guys. That was kind of the group reading to start off the night. Jana donated first. So Jana, thank you. We'll go ahead and get an individual reading. And again, if you're new here, basically we do small donations, and that will put you at the top of my list. So if you don't want to wait, you can get a reading right away. But once I catch up on donations, then we just do kind of free readings until my time is up. Lauren juggling tonight. The energy has been so interesting. I don't know. I don't know how to give a short version without giving you a long version. Why did I pick pile 3 so accurately? Oh, Jana, no. Okay. So anyone that donates tonight, we will be pulling, well, everyone will be pulling from the Ashelon Oracle, but I want to also pull from the Prismatic Tarot. Oh, and I meant to grab the Astro Dice. I've got too many new tools, but we're going to use them over the course of the next couple weeks. Thank you, Mickey. I'm getting in the habit of writing people's names down. Otherwise, I will get forgotten. Okay. All right, Jana, you know I can be wrong. I could not be connecting right, especially with a question like this. But these are so stiff. I'm going to just start intuitively with what I'm getting. And I will say this too, like when I'm reading other people, they can block being read because, you know, I'm not asking their permission to be read. I'm just kind of going in a roundabout way by asking my guides instead. But if they don't want people to know something, it won't be known. But intuitively, I'm kind of getting a no. But the energy around it, I don't want to say there's like betrayal of some sort, but it just kind of feels like there is some dishonesty there. Not saying that it was, I don't feel like it's as intense as cheating, but like thoughts of going elsewhere is probably on his mind. But I mean, also, isn't that on everybody's mind? You know, I'm wanting to be a little safe with how I talk about this, because you know what I always say, take my advice as you would a friend's. You guys trust your gut more than mine. And with relationship stuff too, I always say, just have an open and honest conversation if you can. It's interesting because from the Ashelon Oracle card, I pulled wishes. And the immediate first thing that I heard was that you're kind of wishing that it would happen. Obviously, you don't wish it would happen, but I'm kind of hearing that it would be an easy way out. if he did. And so I would examine those feelings, is it easier to leave somebody if they did something wrong? And I hate to say it, but I wonder if that's kind of where you're coming from, is a place of I'm looking for something to point the finger at so that I can escape, and really let's look at our own feelings from this angle and kind of say like, hey, where am I having wishful thinking and why are those thoughts there? And do you actually need this to be a real thing in order to move on? Thinking. And then I also got the Six of Swords. So this is definitely a challenge, like a challenge in how you're going to approach it, how you're going to handle it. There's going to be a lot of like logistical things that you're going to have to figure out. It's just going to be a mental hardship is what it's going to be. It's going to be a struggle. I mean, that's, how these things go. But to answer your question, I kind of feel like no. And I kind of feel like there might be some wishful thinking there, because it would make it a lot easier for you if that were the case. Again, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm getting. Let me just zoom down here. But Jana, I'm if I didn't say it, I'm not getting that your decision is like a bad one. I kind of feel honestly that this has been a long time coming. I want to go further, but just because I know Jana a little bit more personally, so but Jana, you know where you can reach me if we want to like ever go further into that. Where can I learn to shuffle? YouTube. Yeah, shuffling it's just your preference. Some people shuffle a very certain way, certain number of times. It's just what's most comfortable for you. And yes, like Lori said, it's the size of the cards. I did do a TikTok. That was a more funny TikTok. But you could do that one. My favorite, there's one chick on TikTok that literally, she runs into the room and she like throws the cards up in the air, and whatever one stays in her hand, that's the one she gives the reading for. I love it. Just pointing out that there's no wrong way. Amanda donated. Gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you so much. I'm just now seeing all of your Venmos. Okay. So we did Jana, and then we have Mickey, and then Amanda, Priya, and Bianca. Okay. That's kind of the order. So Mickey next. Hi, Lauren. So glad I caught alive. Can you please share what the outlook is on my friendship, or should I maintain the relationship as is? Okay. Can I hear my guides? I'm very clairaudient. This is like a friendship, or you said that, right? Yeah, friendship. Like a girl friendship. Oh, Mickey, I feel like in the nicest way, like you're a pushover. You let people step on you. And this friend, like I haven't even pulled yet, but I feel like they've taken advantage of you. And I don't feel like anything has changed besides kind of like your boundaries. You're kind of all of a sudden saying, I don't want this anymore. I'm like done with this energy. And so you feel like you can't necessarily walk away because nothing really has changed. But in a lot of ways, just kind of your threshold has kind of shifted, if that makes sense. And I just pulled this same card again, which is funny. Whenever I pull a new deck, there's always like one card that will come out over and over and over again. That happened week when we did the Chromatic Fates tarot. This compassion card, though, to me, Mickey, is saying, like, you can walk away and do so compassionately. Like, it doesn't have to be this big negative, like, F you on your way out. It can be a very, like, loving thing. You know, you can decide if that means, and this is literally the court of love, so you can decide if that means, you know, hey, I'm going to tell them on my way out, or I'm just going to kind of walk away and just, you know, not say anything. I feel like at the very least, new boundaries need to be set, because the way that they've been treating you is just no longer working for you, and that's totally allowed. But if it's something that you don't feel faith that they could change, then yeah, it might be time to move on. I got the King of Cups. This to me is just confirming, Nikki, that like you're highly aware. It's like about trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, trusting your emotions around this. So even if I'm wrong, this is about trusting where your gut is telling you to go. And to me, I'm hearing that this is because you've been making a lot of changes and you've been saying, no, I'm going to set more boundaries. No, I'm going to demand more for myself. Isn't it beautiful, by the way? Gosh, I love all of these artists and all of their drawings. This one is like one of my favorite. I just love the style. There's one in here that's like an anime style. It's super cool. What was I saying? Like, this to me is saying you've kind of entered this new chapter of like, no, I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to trust my emotions. I'm going to set myself first. I'm the king of this energy. I'm the king of my emotions, my space. And that person has the choice of, you know, respecting those boundaries or not. And I don't know if you listen to my podcast, Mickey, but literally I feel like I'm about to do a podcast on something very similar. And that's kind of where I got such a huge download for this, is because my guides were showing me a very similar relationship that I went through. And I think it's very similar energy. All right. Thank you, Mickey. Oh, I forgot about my donation minimum. Oh, well. Okay. Oh, goodness. Is tonight going to be a fast night of chat where I'm going to have to play catch up? That's interesting, Angelica. I haven't heard that. To me, I would say as a psychic coach, you know, if they're saying, oh, they can't read you because X, Y, Z, in a way, they're kind of blocking themselves by saying, I can't read if you do this. And that's something that I talk about in my courses, is how do you get past that when you're in the middle of a reading and you have like a block like that come up, and it could be, you know, self-inflicted or inflicted by the other person. But to me, I feel like you should be able to move past that. It shouldn't bother you. But at the same time, like, sometimes I ask people to do things for me to open them up more. You know, I'll ask them to like say something, or I'll ask them to imagine their crown chakra opening, because it helps me. It also gives me like permission, or I'm in a way asking them permission to be read, if that makes sense. So I don't feel like fighting it is necessarily the answer either, is my point. Best friend. Ugh, that's exactly the energy I was picking up on. Do you hear your guides like you hear your own thoughts? I knew someone. Okay, Silly Rabbit, like literally that question has been going through my head the last couple of days. I think it's because I knew someone was going to ask me, because I was prepared for the answer, because it's different. And it's not that I like legitimately hear another voice in my head, but it feels different, like, which I know is then crossing into clairsentience, but it feels like it's always coming from a certain direction also. Like when you sit, it kind of gets centered, which I talked about in my most recent video. You kind of have a sense of your awareness, where that sits. Like, even if you close your eyes now, where's my awareness? Like, where am I at? And sometimes you'll be in your head. Sometimes you'll be kind of above yourself. But when I hear, and so point being, when I'm talking to myself, I know where my energy is. And sometimes like my guides, for some reason, are off to the left, now that I like think about it. But it feels like a different tone, but not I need to pay attention more. But yeah, it's not like an actual like, oh, hey, my name is Bob. I don't like actually hear it like that, but I just feel the energy. It's almost like a vibration, if that makes sense, that I'm feeling the difference. I feel like I'm clairaudient too, but I just always assume it's me thinking in my head. Yeah, clairaudience, I think honestly is one of the harder ones to find that difference, but it comes with time for sure. All right, so Amanda is next. Amanda, did you have a question? Priya and Bianca as well. Sometimes you can put the questions in here, but Amanda, throw up your question unless I missed it. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss it. Donated. I don't think so. So we're waiting on Amanda, then Priya, then Bianca. Also, a side note, you guys have probably noticed I've been testing releasing my videos on Saturdays. I'm going to do it one more time. So this week's video is going to come out on a Saturday. Just testing to see if it's a better release date analytics wise. So that may or may not be my new date instead of Fridays. But if you're on Patreon, you'll get early access to that this Thursday. I feel like I'm so drawn to multidimensional energy, maybe alien light bodies or something. I don't know. Can you pick up anything on that, or is that too crazy and out there? No, I do not feel like any of that is too crazy and out there. And I will say there are so many guides, so many beings that I don't personally know about or work with, but I never like ever shame anybody or not read somebody because I don't know what that energy is. And I do know a lot of people that do believe in aliens. Like when I think light bodies, I kind of think like the starseed energy from like Rebecca Campbell. But I'll see what I get. I don't think it's crazy. I feel like our guides present themselves to us in whatever way resonates with us most. So, if you feel drawn to it in a certain way, that's because that just really works for you. Bam, that one came out. Every time we do a new deck, it's always the same cards. Perfection. Hang on. I'm actually hearing that this perfection is about these guys. Let me pull one other card for you because you also donated, right? I just want to see. Okay, 13. I just want to ask about these beings. Ooh! I don't think I've ever pulled the sun in this deck. That is so pretty. Honestly, Amanda, I feel like such good energy around this. The fact that I pulled the sun and perfection, like I know we read perfection earlier and it was like a bad kind of thing, but I feel like when it comes to spirit guides, to me, I'm kind of reading this as like they're very, very high vibrational beings, versus like somebody who's crossed over, they might not always be fully crossed over, and you guys know how I feel about that like term. To me, this is like kind of saying like they are perfection. They are the lightest of the light that they could get. They are light. And the fact that I pulled the sun card, literally, to me, I'm kind of feeling like this is just confirmation. I feel like they're coming in and saying like, yes, we're real. Trust these instincts, especially with like you feeling like, oh my gosh, it's almost too good to be true. And light beings, is that weird? But I'll say as briefly as I can, like I truly think that our guides, and I have a podcast on why it's hard sometimes to connect with our spirit guides, so maybe check that out, Amanda, because I kind of go in depth on how I kind of think that guides change their images to better suit us, because they just want to connect with us. They want us to hear their messages. So they're not stuck to a form. They're not stuck to a physical body. So they're going to take on whatever they believe you're going to connect with. For example, I have several guides that are like mythical beings, or that's not a good example, as much as like characters from books or TV. And that's because I connect and resonate with that image. And sometimes it feels weird. You're like, oh, my guide is from like a book or a movie. That doesn't, they must not be a guide. To me, the long answer, I think that yes, these beings are real. Whoever you are connecting with, they are, with a perfection card, they are okay to be connecting with. They are the literal definition of like love and light in the purest form. Ooh, and I just got expect powerful change, new moon and eclipse. Like, I do feel like you connecting with their energy is really going to shift your energy and kind of just how you approach connecting with them. And I'm just going to ask, because I feel like they're just saying, it's the fear of judgment, of like not wanting to connect with. And I'm asking like what you can do to get around that. Like, and one thing actually that Chloe said that I absolutely resonate with, she mentioned that, your spiritual practice, you do not have to share with anybody else, and that is totally okay. And so maybe, if you believe in this and you're a little bit embarrassed by it, you don't have to share it with anybody. You can keep it to yourself. I have a guide that I would never say who they are because I would be so embarrassed by like people judging me, and I just want to keep that connection with that guide like very sacred. So like it's totally okay for me to kind of keep that to myself. But I pulled, this card is so fun. This is the love card in the Court of Love. Court of Fairies. No, Court of Love. She's just a fairy, so I thought she was the Court of Fairies. But to me, this is like, I don't know who they are, who you're connecting to, but they're just like the purest form of literal love and light. I don't think it's anything to be afraid of, anything to shy away from. They're here to help you. They're here to bring change. All right. And I did a little bit longer with her just because she donated a little bit more. So thank you, Amanda. Everything lately is too good to be true. That's good. Let me catch up. Who was next on my list? That was Amanda. Okay, so Priya was next. Did Priya ask her question? If you have one. If not, I'll just kind of give a general reading. I know what you mean, Taylor. I do that too. Lumerian crystals were brought here by non-earthly beings. Yeah, and I don't know too much about that myself. I haven't researched, but I'm not going to be like, oh, no, those aren't real, I know Chaz has a very, like, interesting style. I love it. If you're, like, a steampunk person, this might be the deck for you. You too. Thanks, Amanda. Alrighty. All right. Thank you, Mickey. We'll come back to you. We've got Priya, Bianca, and then Mickey again. Looking for new job prospects. Anything coming in that I need to be aware of? I feel like my guides do this to me either to screw with me or to make it easier since I don't know as many of these cards. I pulled the compassion card again. I was hearing the pull too, so. Oh, that one flew out. Ah! I think it's going to be a little chaotic, Priya. I got compassion. More of these cards I want to jump out. Compassion and talent. Honestly, I'm kind of hearing with this Priya to like go after the things you think you can't get that you really want. If there's that job that you're just like, oh, I would love to do that. But you're like, oh no, there's no way they would pick me. Like, really get out of your head when it comes to what you think you can or can't get. And with the talent card, like, this to me, it's giving me two things of like, wherever you are talented, wherever you like want to really be, like, you can find a job in that arena. Like, you don't necessarily have to like be your own business owner or like go out and do things solo. Like, I feel like I'm just hearing there's a lot of like naysaying of like, oh, that job doesn't exist, or I really love to be a painter or something, and you're like, oh, I can't get work like that. But maybe you find a job like painting sets for theater. Like, that's a real job. So like, following your talent and your passion, I really feel like there is a job out there that will align with like the things that you are passionate about. And I'm also hearing to like literally on your resume or in this interview, like, play up the talents of like what you're really good at. I feel like you don't toot your own horn enough. And so maybe that's more of the problem is, communicating, hey, this is how awesome I am, and you should see this, because you're too humble. And I think with this compassion card coming up again, this to me is kind of saying like, it's giving yourself the self-love that, hey, I could go after a bigger job. Like, I just feel like your bar is kind of low because you keep telling yourself, oh, I can't, that's not possible, that's not for me. And let me pull. I'm gonna ask next just like what you can do to manifest this next job. Ooh, I love this deck so much. 2 of Cups. Let's see if it'll focus and not on me. And what's cool too about each of these cards is the artist is written on the side of the card, so you can always go look them up. Yeah, forget. 2 of Cups. There we go. Oh, it's so pretty. This to me is kind of just, it's balancing those emotions. It's balancing the need for money, the want to get a job quickly, but also like I want to find somewhere that I'll stay for a while because I enjoy doing it, because I'm talented at it, because I want to be here. And I think often we see work and jobs as like something that you can't have that energy in. But I feel like your guys are just coming through loud and clear, being like, no, you can have both. You can, work for somebody else, do something that you love, and get paid and like have a good like salary, if that makes sense. Okay, and you donated a little bit more, so I'll just pull a few more cards. How else can you manifest this? Ooh, a time to give rather than take. This to me is just kind of like screaming the energy of like, don't be desperate. Don't just be throwing yourself at anything and anything, everything and anything. Like, don't be signing up for McDonald's if you're overqualified. Kind of almost set this expectation with the universe of like, no, I'm better qualified for something else. And I feel like if you're keeping yourself small, that's where you're going to kind of hinder, manifesting this new job or career. Let's see. And I'm going to ask if there's anything like you're missing or not seeing. And I think I got the Page of Cups. And this to me is just kind of saying like, you really need to come at this with new energy, new emotions. The emotional spot that you've come at this from so far has been very like, I can't do it. I need to find something quick. So that means it's going to be bad, or I want to do something that I love, but that means I'm not going to get paid well. Just like be very conscientious of the thoughts that you're putting out. And again, set those sights higher. Try to balance the energy a little bit more with, I can have this thing and I can enjoy it at the same time. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I'm missing. Let me pull one more card. Wishes. Okay. Same cards. It's almost like we have the whole Ashelon Oracle, but I'm pulling the same 4 cards. And to me, this is kind of saying, it's all about intention. When we think of wishing on something, it's what is your intention? What are those thoughts that you're putting out to the universe? And if you're constantly saying, I don't deserve this, or I can't find a place where I will be respected, or that I will enjoy and make money, just try to catch yourself and see what are those intentions that you're setting? What are those thoughts that you're putting out to the universe? And do they match what you really want? Because I'm kind of hearing like, you're good enough, you can raise those standards. You can kind of almost like wait, like the energy is almost like, I'm going to wait for the right one to come by. I'm going to wait for the right offer. I feel like you might be tempted by a bunch of opportunities, but really like take a moment to really think about where that's going to put you. Is that going to put you in a good place or not? And, that's not to say like keep yourself in a place where you're like starving or not taking care of yourself. Like, sometimes you just have to take those crappy jobs to get by, and that's totally okay. But if you're really wanting to get into that like next level and really manifest a better job, really just try to take a pause and think about what you're manifesting, if that makes sense. I've got all these kitties walking around my backyard here. There's a bunch of cats that sleep under this shed. I think they have found a safe home in my backyard. All right. And then we've got Brianka. Thank you guys for your patience. And Brianka wants to know if there's anything her guys want to know. You're welcome, Priya. Thanks for stopping by. Brianka and then Mickey. I think like I'm getting like, this is like a really weird side note, but they're I've said it a million times, they're building a house next to me. They tore down the old one and then they're putting one, and today they literally tore out the old fence that was separating us. And so now there's just like my house, their house, no fence. The fence is going up tomorrow. But like all day, I've just been so open to the energy of the construction workers. And I think I feel like vulnerable because like there's no fence there. It's like a literal boundary has been like removed. And so I think I'm feeling like it's like affecting my boundaries and it's letting in like a little too much information because I'm being like too open. Just like a side tangent of how like your literal life can affect, stuff like that coming in. I will say too, something that scared the F out of me, like spirits don't really scare me anymore. I kind of honestly find them boring, but sometimes they'll get me. And one of these nights I was closing my window, looking out at that new house. Person, like I saw a full black like person silhouette in the window. Nobody lives in there yet. They're still building it. Scared the poop out of me. And I was like, oh geez. And I knew exactly who it was, but the woman that used to live in this house died while we were in this house. She bugged me a lot when they tore down the house. Anyway, I don't know. Getting on a tangent. Awkwardly Zen. Interesting. We'll have to check that out. Thanks, Lori. Okay. Priyanka. Okay. How much did you... I try to make like the length of my readings equal to what you donated. Okay. Ooh, sticky energy. Okay. I'm kind of immediately feeling, Brianka, that there's just like a little bit of stagnant energy that's going on. There's been like, I'm hearing like stumbling. Like, I don't know if there's just been a lot of things that you've been trying to push that aren't working out. It's almost like you're pushing back at a wall sometimes. but I'm kind of getting just this energy of you trying to make things happen and then it's not happening. Interesting. Okay. Yes. So I pulled for the Ashelon Oracle, I pulled inspiration and adventure. This makes so much sense. Okay. And then I asked kind of what this was about. And then I got the world in reverse. And the world in the major arcana is it's kind of the last card of the major arcana. And it's talking about how, and I've pulled this card so much for like literally this month. There's a lot of endings happening this month collectively. It's interesting. And I will say, like, I know I talk about my Patreon a lot, but the reading that I did this month for my kind of super psychic tier, I did a look at June and the rest of the year, and the energy is just feels so good. But it starts out with this month being like, all right, we are ending cycles. Things are being like done. We're done with it. I pulled the death card literally like 6 different times for June, for like various different readings. But point being, this is that same energy that I'm feeling for you with the world card. I feel like you're at the end of a chapter, Bianca. Oh, and that is our member timer. Oh, look, and that's my baby. That's when we went to Disneyland. What was I saying? So Lori, you were the one that commented closest. So Lori, you get the member reading for tonight. So after Mickey, Lori, if you have a question, I feel like it's always Lori, which is totally fine. You feel free to ask a question. But what was I saying? Bianca, you're at an end of a chapter. You're at the end of a cycle, but I feel like the reason why you feel like things aren't moving forward is you haven't really said, what's the next thing? What's that next thing that I want? And with, adventure and inspiration, I'm just getting this general vibe of like, you've been playing it safe. You haven't necessarily wanted to move forward and kind of like set the new goals, set the new intentions, probably because it's been so rough, but this is saying like, no, get out of that kind of mentality. Even if you don't feel like this cycle is over, start saying it to yourself, start setting the intention that I am moving on to the next best thing. And with inspiration and adventure, it's kind of like, it's following literally the Fool card, which is the first card in the major arcana. It's like the going out and saying, I'm going to do this and I don't care what's going to happen. I'm just going to manifest this and I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to be inspired and I'm going to go. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to go after these crazy things. I just feel like this is what's lacking because you're playing it safe and maybe you aren't quite realizing that this is like the end of a cycle. And you're allowed to like set the intention for like what's happening next. Like, where do I want to be in the next like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? And if you feel like you don't really know the answer to that question, that's a great place to start. And I think if you're kind of feeling like, well, maybe I've already done this or I'm trying to do that, but I'm struggling. I pulled the full moon in Pisces, balance, spirituality, and practicality. And so maybe this vision of the future has only one of these sides. Maybe you have the very practical vision of like what you want to do, but maybe not the spiritual side of it. And when I feel into that, it's almost kind of like, yeah, I have the practical things. I want this house. I want this. I want that. But is it making you happy? Are you nurturing yourself? Are you taking yourself? What is that practical wish bringing into your life spiritually, emotionally, if that makes sense? Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe like spiritually, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what I want to do. I know how I want to feel, the life I want to live, but I have no idea where or the money or the job. It's kind of making sure that you have both sides of that coin, if that makes sense. You did 15. Okay. I'm just going to ask any other thing. I'm just going to ask how you can fully kind of step into this next chapter a little bit better. for those with me on live nights, does this not happen every time we use a new deck? I swear. Wishes. Again, it's about your intention. So if you're wanting to move out of this cycle, even if you don't know what it is or what lessons you learned, just set the intention. I'm done with this. This is the end of the chapter. I'm putting the period on this. Like literally right as I said that, my count of people watching turned to 10, and I also have 10 likes. Like that to me is completion, finality. If it feels artificial, if you have to just set it and just believe it, even though you don't necessarily believe it, just pay attention to that intention and what you're putting out. Like, do I feel like I'm really putting the period at the end of this sentence? And how can I move forward and say, no, next thing? I hope that makes sense. Sometimes even when we don't feel like we're ready to move on, sometimes just saying, nope, I'm done, I am moving on, can kind of like kickstart our energy into welcoming in that new energy. I think that's what I'm trying to say. He's so cute. Thank you. He's a terror right now. Gosh. He's a week away from turning 2, and I can feel it. He's a little testy little turd, but I love him. I will say, too, the next live night that we're going to be doing together 2 weeks from now is going to be the summer solstice. And I didn't realize we're going to spend summer solstice together. So you guys will have to join me. We're going to talk about that Sabbath. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying it right, but just making sure nobody else donated on Venmo. Okay. And then we got Mickey and Lori. Ghost stories. I'm gonna have to look up that app. Awkwardly Zen. Okay, so back up to Mickey really quick. Another question, if possible. How should I move forward with my mom? Not birth mom, but my chosen mom. I haven't spoken in almost a month. Okay. Ugh. Y'all. Okay, guys, why are you doing this to me? They're trying to lighten my energy, but also they're like, you know the meanings of these cards. Also, it's probably just a general theme of tonight. I feel like everyone has probably been through like a rocky time. I wouldn't be surprised with like the energy that we had in May and coming off of like eclipse season. And I feel like this compassion card is just like a theme of the night. We just need to be kinder to ourselves. Okay. So, Mickey, I feel like, one, this is you, this compassion card. I didn't pull it this way, but that's what they're telling me. And then the 6 card, or this card, artificial, is your mom. So to me, this is kind of saying beware and fish through the artificial things. Like, I feel like she might tell you. I feel like she says things she doesn't mean. And she like regrets it later. And it's because she doesn't know how to express her emotions. And so it comes, like what comes out is from a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It comes from a very like hurt place. And it's because she doesn't know how to be vulnerable or express her emotions, if that makes sense. I feel like you're a lot better at that, which is hard because you're like, just meet me at this place. Like, let's be compassionate towards each other. And I feel like she has a hard time giving that, not because she doesn't love you, not because she doesn't care, but I don't think she has like, I'm literally hearing like the training or the words or the know-how of how to do it. That's not always your responsibility to teach her how, but I will say that I think it can be. Like, speaking for myself, I had a very bad relationship with my mother, kind of middle school, high school, post-college. We butted heads a lot, and it was a lot because she was very emotionally immature. She just did not approach things in the best way. And I just have always been a more like mature person for my age. And I would always like point things out of like how she was speaking, how she was talking, and how like she would go in circles and just kind of have like those narcissistic tendencies. But I will say though that I set a boundary with her and I was like, I'm not talking to her. And we kind of had a lot of distance for many years. And but then I didn't teach her, like I didn't sit down and was like, this is how you do things, but like anytime she did something wrong, I would kind of be like, all right, break time. And anytime she did something right, I would sort of kind of bring it up into the conversation of like how that was helpful, or how that was, how I try to encourage the good and discourage the bad, if that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of times we feel like we have to completely ditch the people in our lives if they're not suiting us. But I kind of also feel like you can teach them how to be a better person in your relationship. I hope this makes sense. And I think this is all kind of coming from your guides of like, there's hurdles, you don't want to like completely break it off with her, but there is a lot of training that needs to happen. There is a lot of headache because you already know these things, but she doesn't. So it's going to require a lot of patience and compassion on your end, but just, to put yourself in her shoes and understand that, hey, she might not exactly know how to do this. But the last card I pulled for you is the Ace of Cups. And this is all about making sure your cup is filled first. If those boundaries are getting pushed, stop. Stop communication. You do not have to talk to her. Come at it when you're ready, especially like for your question right now. When you feel like you are able to handle that, then you can chat with her. But if you don't feel like you're emotionally available or ready yet, just wait, take the time. I don't think this is like you're never going to speak to each other again, though. No, I think it's the child teaching the parent kind of situation. I hope that makes sense. All right. Thank you, Mickey. Thanks for donating again. So Lori is our member winner for tonight. So let's see if Lori has a question. Jumping down to the bottom. I get excited when we talk about suns, moons, the cosmos. Yes, and I just got the book in for summer solstice. It's the Llewellyn series. And that's kind of how I'm learning about the Sabbats as I go along and make these vlogs. It's going to be a very interesting one, though, because literally within the same week, I've got my son's birthday, Father's Day, summer solstice. And so I think I'm going to have to kind of combine everything, or else it's just going to be way too much. But he's 2 weeks. He's 1 week from 2. 1 week? Ugh, like literally next Tuesday is his birthday. Pretty card. Oh yeah, wasn't that? Okay, what do I need to know, or any messages that they have for me? Why am I shuffling that one? We're supposed to be using the Ashelon Oracle. I keep reaching for these ones because these ones are like my new favorite. Also, like I will say, both of these are brand new card decks. Wow. You probably won't be able to see on my camera, but like this one, the Ashelon Oracle, is way thicker than this one. I mean, you can kind of see it when I really get it angled right. This one is way thicker. And that's what makes them harder to shuffle. These are brand new. Look how bendy these are. That was a good catch. Look how bendy those are versus like these. I can't even do it with one hand. Okay. You are accurate as always. I can be wrong. Just remember. You're welcome, Mickey. I was just so like the exact same thing happening with like my mom. I don't think that's for everybody though. I think some people really need to cut certain people out of their lives. I've definitely done that before. Oh yeah, we pulled a new card. Mark. All right. And this was for Lori. Okay. Look at this dude. Like, I know, I kind of am feeling like this might be a new relationship, Lori. Cause like this dude, like I immediately went to like his like sexiness. I don't know if you're dating, but there might be like a possibility of somebody coming along that like catches your interest. And I'm kind of getting from this card with the spark, even if it's not like necessarily a new person, there's something coming along into your life that's going to give you like this jolt of like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I'm excited about this. And I feel like this is kind of a message of follow it. I was asking what this is about, and I got the King of Swords. I think that's what is this card? Okay. I think I'm getting. Okay. So I pulled the King of Swords. This is from the tarot deck. And I feel like this is that person's energy, but I'm also hearing like it's partly your energy of just really stepping into your power of like making these decisions of like what you do or you don't want to pursue when this comes up. I really feel like it's a relationship though. Like I keep trying to see if it's like, oh, maybe a cool, like exciting thing coming along, like a fun project or like hobby, but I feel like this is a person. Maybe it's not romantic, but I feel like you really have to step into the energy of like, I'm going to think about this, I'm going to be willing and open for it to come along. I'm going to be kind of open to the new energy, even if I decide not to pursue it. But I'm also going to like stop, like, take stock, look at everything, decide if I want to do it, like doing like the mental pros and cons of like, what do I do with this new exciting thing that's coming in? And I kind of feel like it's up to you to say yes or no to this opportunity. And I pulled the wishes card in reverse. And to me, this is kind of saying like, what is it that you're putting out there? Oh, and then I pulled South Node, don't let your past hold you back. And to me, I kind of feel like this is saying like, I feel like this is your guide saying you could be in a relationship if you want, but you don't have to. It's all about what you choose. And so if you're putting out this intention, if you're putting out this wish, then it could come, but you have to be very discerning of like if this is a thing for you or not. And then but it's okay, that makes sense. But it's the discernment and doing kind of the inner work around your emotions and being like, am I dismissing this because I'm afraid of past issues, things that came up in a past relationship? Am I afraid of this new person because of how I was hurt in the past? And I feel like you're just going to be very like chaotic. Maybe again, this isn't a romantic relationship, but I feel like the energy here is like you're trying to decide what to do with this new thing, and you're kind of balancing I want to be brave, I want to let in the new, but I also want to be discerning and not, pay attention to the red flags, but I also don't want to hold myself back because of fear or, something that happened in the past. This is bugging me, so I just want to say, what is this? Is this a relationship? Is this something else? Like, and it might just be your own emotions. It might be, I pulled the devil card, which to me is kind of saying, where do you hold yourself back in life? And so maybe this isn't necessarily about a relationship as much as, where do you hold yourself back? Where do you sit in comfortability versus, being daring, finding that new spark, finding that new joy, creativity, passion. And do you allow yourself to go there, or do you hold yourself back because of fear? I'd be interested, though, to see if it didn't manifest on a relationship level. All right. I think we're all caught up, aren't we? Is it creepy that all my exes' birthdays had weird Cosmo dates or whatever? What do you mean by Cosmo dates? Hence creepies? I mean, it could be a sign. If you feel a certain way about it, it's like, trust, what does your intuition tell you about it? There are a lot of people that are very, like, heavy believers of, like, numerology. I know a little bit about it, but not, like, a whole lot. Okay, you're like, that's my new boyfriend. I was feeling it, but, like, also, if you're not actively trying to manifest that, it could be something else, which is why I, like to say that, like, you know, if you're not actively manifesting and someone is like, oh, guess what, you're getting pregnant, you know, and that's not something you're going for, then it's probably something else, which is why I was trying to, like, figure out something else. But if you immediately felt that, the South Node resonated hard. It seems like we got some, like, spicy energy from our guides tonight. All right, Karen, I assume maybe Karen donated. Like, literally 8 text messages, 2 calls. I swear, no one ever contacts me any other time of the day. Karen, I don't see a donation unless I missed something. Or is your question not psychic related? Oh, like leap year, summer solstice. I don't know. I would just kind of look at it like, what do those mean to you? Like, it's almost like the equivalent of someone being like, oh, well, I was born in this month, so that makes me a Virgo, a Pisces, or something. You know, what does summer solstice mean to you, and what does that mean in relation to that person? If that makes sense, it means they're crazy. All right, guys. I think Lori said just sent. Also, Lori, I don't know if you, or not Lori, Karen, I sent you a message because I think you signed up with 2 Patreon accounts, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't double charging you. So check your Patreon messages, and I can help you out there. I think you just signed up twice. I wanted to help you out. Okay. Oh, maybe, did you send it through PayPal? I'm not seeing it through Venmo. You might be one of the few who still has my PayPal. I'm just double checking. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. I got it. It must just be slow. Sorry, Karen. I've been seeing that I don't want to spend my empty nest years alone, but not necessarily a significant other, but I do. Well, I think that was exactly what your reading was about. It's probably, a message that your guides heard you for sure. Confirmation that they know what you're trying to manifest. Okay, any messages for me about how to manage my relationship with my older sister? She makes me nervous. I'm definitely getting that energy. I think it's because it's insecurities is what I'm hearing of why she pretends like she's better than you. So she kind of gives off, she's insecure about how secure you are with yourself, if that makes sense. And so she kind of tries to like overcompensate by being like, oh, I'm the best because I'm so secure with myself. Theme of tonight. I swear I'm shuffling these cards. We just need to be compassionate with all these people. Maybe it's ourselves and, the boundaries that we're setting with these people. And, maybe this is just a lesson or a message of we have to understand that people are human too, and they don't always know how to express themselves. Like, I really think that this is kind of what this is about with your sister. It's like understanding that she's a human. She might not know how to say exactly what's on her mind. She maybe wasn't trained. Maybe she's got trauma. Maybe she doesn't have that emotional intelligence. And to me, I feel like when people act like they're better than somebody else and they really come off as just like this, like, I'm getting chest puffed up like from her, because there's this energy of like, I have to pretend that I'm very strong, very secure, because in actuality I'm not. And kind of coming at it from a compassionate standpoint, and seeing her as another spiritual human being and being like, I get it. I know why she's acting that way. I know, why she would be doing this, and I'm not going to take it personally because I see where this is coming from. In setting boundaries with her. What was your other question? She's powerful in the family dynamic and masculine. I think it comes from a place of like fear, and honestly, she feels like one of those people that like, I don't feel like she would do it in a room of people, but if you were to like show her this compassion, like say something loving and kind, like I feel like it's her outer shell breaks and she's like mush inside. Like I feel like she's the type of person that really wants other people's approval and love, but she doesn't get that because of the way she acts. So she does it more. It's like heightened. Overall, to answer your question, I feel like this is kind of, again, understanding where she's coming from, putting yourself in her shoes. And in all of these moments, try to like, all these people are out street racing now. I don't know if you guys can hear that. A street race back here behind my house. Let's see, what was I going to say? It's kind of about in these moments stopping and like using your intuition and being like, why is she acting like that right now? And instead of being like, oh, she's doing it because she's being a jerk, saying, I think right now she's really feeling attacked, or she's really feeling vulnerable or insecure, and what could I give her right now that would actually make her feel better? And I feel like you would be doing more than most, and I feel like she doesn't necessarily deserve it with her actions, but I feel like that's how you're going to soften that relationship, because she won't feel like she has to constantly be on guard with you. But again, it's about making sure that you're not opening up too much, that you're not letting your energy affect you too much. You're taking a break from it. And you're really walking away like when enough is enough, if that makes sense. Not going to take it personally. Yes. Like, I love the quote, like, hurt people hurt people. Wounded people hurt other people. And I feel like that is like the definition of what's going on with her. Compassion. Again, I know that card tonight. I might have to tell Chaz, like, this is like the card that should be the main card of the deck. I just want to show you some of the other cards. That one's cool. Intellect. This one's cool. It's kind of like a psychic with a crystal ball. Insight. I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but like if you really liked like one of these cards in particular, he sells prints of them. You can also get the like bags with the print on the front of the bag. Ooh, this one's cool. Look at this one, passion. How do we donate for reading? Annalise, you can donate through the super chat below or Venmo, which I've got pinned to the like pinned comment. I think though we're all caught up. with donated readings for this moment. So we're going to do a guessing game. Because I know a lot of you wait around for the chance for a guessing game. I am thinking of I'm thinking of a fruit. If you can think of the fruit that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. Excuse me. Yahoo! Pay attention to. That was so cool that Chloe popped in. I was so excited. That was so nice of her. I assume she's gone. She said she was doing other readings, but I don't think anyone's gotten it yet. Thinking of a fruit. If you think of a fruit. Nectarines, Jana. You got it. And I do let whoever wins the guessing game, if they've already donated, they do get to have a second reading. I just want to make sure no one else guessed nectarine. I guess nectarine because they recently just started selling them at the grocery store. It must be semi in season in my area. I'm not sure. So Jana got it, nectarines. Jana, let me know what your question is. Thank you, Mickey. So we have Jana. I'll go ahead and do Mickey while we wait, just because Mickey already sent a question. I have 2 businesses plus my 9 to 5. Can you please share the outlook for them 6 months to a year from now? Okay. I'll pull 1 card for each. Business 1. Shut the fuck up. Business 2. Okay. I'll share the numbers just in case they have any meaning to you. So business 1, this is a number 5. Business number 2 is a number 2. The energy that I'm feeling around this business in 6 months is kind of that it needs a little bit more love. Like it might be a little neglected, not neglected as much as like you're realizing that some things aren't working, so you need to kind of give it a facelift. You're still in the process of figuring out what this one looks like. And then I pulled, for business number 2, I pulled Wonder in reverse. To me, this is just that it's lost a little bit of its excitement. That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't feel like either of these are going to like go down the drain or they're not good options. It's really kind of about your emotional state towards them. This one, well, this one is a little bit more about the emotional attachment to it. It's feeling not as fun. It's feeling not as exciting. You've lost a little bit of the original vision of what it was supposed to be. And I pulled this card in the video that I did. So I'm familiar with this one. And then, whereas this business, I feel like it's moving along, but it just needs a little bit of like practical attention, if that makes sense. But I feel like both are kind of almost at the same spot, which I don't know if that's helpful. But it's interesting that both of them are kind of having challenges of like defining what they are or connecting to why you started it. So maybe if you can start there and be very clear about who your audience is, like what is the end goal? What do I really want out of this? Why did I start this? Write that down so you could come back to that. Maybe that'll make things a little bit more smoother sailing because you're just being a little bit more clear about it, if that makes sense. Alrighty, thank you, Mickey. Okay, and then I think Jana, can I just have a general reading? I appreciate, Silly Rabbit, that you remember that I had a chinchilla named Mickey. I think about him every now and then. He's a turd, though. That was when I realized that not all small mammals are cuddly. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a chinchilla and I'm gonna cuddle him. No. Can I have a general reading? Okay. And I'm just gonna put one more for clarification. I think I know what this is about. One, I will say there are a ton of. Okay. I got wonder and wishes in reverse. So to me, Jana, like I think because I'm still like ruminating on what you were chatting about earlier, this wonder card, I actually feel like this is a good thing. There's you can't really tell, but there's like little tiny butterflies on this card. To me, what is this? The court of, oh, it's all covered up. I think it's fairies. This to me is kind of saying like you're getting in touch with that side of yourself again. The looking at life with wonder and excitement, and like you have a positive outlook on the future again, and it's making you really honestly connected to yourself. Like you're feeling yourself. Like this woman in this card, or fairy in this card, she's all wrapped up with these fish. She's like maybe suspended in water, and she's just like, ah, you know, I feel like that's the energy that you're stepping into. But with the wishes in reverse, I'm kind of again getting this message of like, be careful of like what you're putting out there. If you're putting out the intention that like everything is going to go wrong, if you're catastrophizing, if you're constantly like worried about the next thing that's coming up, or you're looking at the future as, oh, it's going to be hard, oh, I can't have the things that I want, like they're just kind of giving you this like general message of like what you put out you attract, and apparently that's just extra important right now, with the big changes, you know, that you're thinking of making. Hold your vision. I really do feel though that this is a good decision. And I wouldn't say that, you know, especially with like a relationship, and, you know, it gets into dicey waters. I don't want somebody to just like leave their spouse because of something that I said, but I do feel like, you know, this is something that's been on your mind for a while, and it's permission to move forward, because if it's in alignment with this energy, if you're getting back to yourself, if that's your vision, hold that vision, but understand, you know, that vision could be conducive, you know, for staying with somebody. Like you can have that vision of wanting more control, wanting more independence, wanting more of a say. But if you're constantly, you know, telling the universe, oh, well, it's this person, that's the problem, you know, you could be pushing them out, when in actuality, you know, you can have that same feeling, that same future with that person. I'm not trying to like make you more confused, because I still feel like you trust your gut on this, and I feel like you're going in the right direction, but just be very conscientious of like, what is it that I'm putting out there, and is this getting into more of the toxic side? Is it me taking responsibility for my actions? You know, I hope you get what I mean there. It's just making sure that you don't take it too far where you're not holding yourself accountable. I think that's kind of like what I'm getting at. But your vision is well placed, I think. You have good intentions behind it. I know you asked for a general message, but that was like obviously the first big thing that was coming through. It was the monumental moment. Hence so memorable. Oh, that's sweet. That's funny. Jeff, Bunny, and Guinea Pig. That's funny. All right. Okay, so we got to Mickey, right? And that was Jana. All right. I think I'm gonna do one more guessing game. Okay, Jana. I'm gonna do one more guessing game, and then we'll probably close it down for the night. Maybe allow like one more donation if there is one. Okay, guessing game. I forgot forgot to turn all my lights on back here. I was too excited to get on live. Forgot to put my lights. No, that's too easy. Nope, that's too easy too. Okay. I'm thinking of an animal. If you can guess the animal that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. This is my son's favorite animal currently. Chinchilla. Oh, Shannon got an emoji in there. Well, I guess it's on some phones that like autocorrects. Or like gives you the option. What was the animal? It just literally poofed out of my brain. What was the animal? Oh, okay, I remember. Like literally when I'm on my phone, he'll crawl into my lap sometimes and he'll say this animal. And I'll have to go look up videos of this animal to make him happy. And it's well, I was gonna say it's a sort of smaller animal. Wombat. Dragon. Capybara. Those are good guesses. You would find this animal on a farm. I'll give narrowing it down. Like think American farm. Getting closer. Sending out the mental image. What this animal is. Use your psychic abilities. It's of the bird family. Duck. Silly rabbit. You got it. It's a duck. Silly rabbit, let me know if you have a question. Duck. He loves ducks. So he'll crawl in my lap and he'll be like, Guck, Guck. And I have this one account on Instagram that I always like, or in TikTok that I look up. And they just have the most adorable little duck, baby duck videos. And he loves looking at it. You love ducks too. What is that account? It's so cute. I don't know what that account is. Such good taste. Our cats currently is the reason that he's going to time out so much is because he doesn't know how to be gentle with the kitties. Constantly pulling their tail. I'll show you some more images from this deck while we wait for Silly Rabbit. This one's pretty. Infatuation. Luck. Ooh. Spirituality and hidden. So it's very like general terms. Like I kind of like it because it's pretty easy to read intuitively. Like if you're getting the card illusion, you instantly kind of know what that means. You're getting the card awakening. You kind of get an energy behind that. How is the kitty? Oh yeah, I haven't given much updates on her. She is doing a lot better. Basically, I found out that when she became diabetic, we had to switch up her diet. We had to go to all wet food basically. And it's very hard to find a low carb wet cat food that was kind of cheap. And so we went through literally the first brand we went through was super expensive. I was like, there's no way I can do this on a regular basis. So we need to try something else. And the one we settled on, she couldn't digest it, and that's why she got constipated over and over again. So now we're on like brand number 3 or 4. She hates it, but she doesn't get constipated. She's not getting her blood sugar is not spiking. We're existing at this level. Everything's okay for now. We just had to, low carb cat food. It's basically a wet food diet, and Fancy Feast is technically low carb, but there was just something in the ingredients that was getting her constipated. Like she could not process it. So now we're on Tiki Cat, which is expensive. Not as expensive as the prescription food. Literally, it was like $2 for a can. And she was supposed to have like 6 cans a day. I was like, I can't do it. Just be prepared. The Terrible Twos is just the gateway. Oh no, you're not supposed to say that. He's actually a pretty well behaved kid. I'm just complaining because these last couple of days he's just been. It's like when you learn something that you can't do, you push it, you test it with your parents, and he's just learning that no matter how many times I test it, it's still going to be, a no. The one that was sick. Oh yeah, that cat. What am I doing? Oh, this is Silly Rabbit. Okay. I had a dream that my boss isn't to be trusted business-wise. Something like that. And he told me next week he wants to talk to me about new business ideas. I immediately got that dream might have been your own anxieties, though. So I don't know. You guys know I have some videos on dreaming, and sometimes you'll dream about things because it's literally your anxieties manifested, like you're dreaming the worst case scenario. But that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's precognitive. And that was the immediate thing that I got. This is not precognitive. This is just your anxieties manifested. There's something about him that you don't trust. Already, and that's why you had that dream. I don't necessarily feel like it's precognitive. Like the thing he's going to talk to you about next week is not something that you should trust. Let me pull some cards. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm really feeling strongly about that too, because a lot of other reasons. One, I saw your question earlier when you asked that, and I had a dream last night, and they were showing me that dream last night, and that dream was also very much like anxieties manifest, not literal, or not precognitive, I should say. But however, they are saying your spidey sense on the fact that you shouldn't trust him is well placed. Like there does need to be a boundary there. I don't know why, but I don't necessarily feel like you can't listen and be open. I'm just hearing be like, all right, cool, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you kind of thing. Like don't let him pressure you into thinking you have to make that decision then. That's like the biggest piece of advice I'm getting. Yeah, so like the answer of like, should you take it or not? The answer is be ready to be like, let me think about it. Y'all. Why is this happening? I'm pulling another card really quick on why this is happening. Because I'm not confident in the messages that I'm giving. Right? Oh, it's because Lauren needs to be more compassionate with herself. Okay, cool. But it's still for you. Again, though, compassion being your mistrust of him might be well placed, but that doesn't mean you have to come into every situation with him like on guard. Like obviously that doesn't mean like let him do whatever, still be relatively on guard, but there might actually be something good here that you would have otherwise passed up because you were just so ready to say no. Does that make sense? Let me ask like how you should make that decision really quick. Ooh, that one fell out. Ooh, treasure. I'm literally hearing like if you feel like it'll be profitable for you. If you don't see the money or the profit in it, ditch it. Mostly because I feel like he's got ideas, but some of them just might not be very. He might not have the foundation, if that makes sense. Yay! Thank you, Karen, for being concerned about my kitty. They're going to be starring in one of my upcoming videos. Finally did a video on like animal communication. Haven't done that in a long time. You guys will see that in a few weeks. I wish I knew the difference between my own worries versus psychic stuff. I have a whole video on it. Your thoughts versus intuition or something. Maybe rewatch it. Maybe that's something I need to do again. They're coming into their personality and there are no boundaries to that exploration. Yes. Honestly, he's such a big sweetheart the majority of the time. But when he's like testing those boundaries, which he does, you have to just stay calm and remember that they're testing it, not to take it personally. It's just about consistency, really. And I think I learned that because I did not have consistency growing up. Sometimes my mom would say it was a no. Sometimes it was okay to do. Sometimes it was not okay to do. So it was very unclear. And that's why I've always been like, with my husband, I'm like, consistency. We got to be on the same page. We're both Virgos. So, like, yeah. Haha, compassion. This is just, that should be the card on the front of this, or the back of this, right? I mean, trust your own intuition, silly rabbit. I don't like his energy either. Like, I want to disagree with those cards, but like, also I think that's the thing. There's like a bias there that maybe we're not holding. It's not coming from a good place, you know? All right. Thank you, Annalise. And I will say we're going to finish off with the free readings. I will probably do Annalise and then call it good for the night. So no more donations after Annalise. And then we will kind of decompress and just hang out for the rest of the time. I have what he doesn't. Honestly, Silly Rabbit, like I kind of get this energy of like, he doesn't. He's like good intention, but the way it comes out just feels creepy and weird. Like he could be a lot better spoken, but he's just not. Whoa, animal communication. Yeah, I need to film the B-roll for that. I don't remember to do that. Doing a lot more B-roll in my videos, which is basically like when you see my face when I'm talking, that's kind of like what we call talking head. But then when you cut away to whatever I'm talking about, like if I'm talking about my nighttime routine, you're actually seeing me do my nighttime routine. That's called B-roll. Film facts for you. And I'm trying to put more B-roll in my videos. Let's see, where was I at? He has all these ideas, but he doesn't have the structure. Yeah. That seems to be my strength. I just don't want to be used by him. Do all the work. Yeah, I feel that way for you too. Like I want to protect you in that sense. But maybe, again, the compassion. Maybe it's just about being honest about it, being vulnerable and upfront. B-roll. And it's B-R-O-L-L. B-roll. We're blown away, Karen. Hang on to something, Karen. All right. Sorry. Okay, we're going back to Annalise, which she's got a duck photo. How perfect. Should I volunteer to teach refugees or help my start a business or both? Ooh, okay. I love either or questions because I kind of pull cards for each. Okay. What do we need to know about teaching refugees? Helping your husband start a business. I'm immediately hearing like your husband needs the emotional support. So there's something about like you could give him the emotional support without actually having to do a whole lot of work. But let's see what these cards are. Stop it. Y'all, okay. At this point, I think it's my guides just trying to mess with me. Either that, or I'm going to have to call up Chaz and be like, Chaz, what's wrong with your cards? Not that there's anything wrong. And I will say, too, one of the intentions that I set when I read cards is that I always say I never pull the wrong card. Sometimes if you start to get in your head about maybe I pulled the wrong card, then you don't trust the cards that you do pull. So I try to get into the habit of being like, every card I pull is the right card. Okay. Volunteering to teach refugees. We pulled the compassion card. Honestly, I feel like this is where your heart lies. I do feel like it's going to be more of a challenge, though. I'm just going to ask why it's going to be more of a challenge. Money, and that's what I was feeling. I just pulled the treasure card again. I kind of am feeling both because I feel like you shouldn't be helping your husband forever. I do think he's too much of a perfectionist. And he will stay in that analysis paralysis, which is why he kind of needs that emotional support of somebody cheering him on and saying, like, no, just do it, make it happen. Or like being like, yeah, I'm your cheerleader, you know? And I feel like, though, at some point you will have to kind of step away from that and be like, this is your thing. It's not my thing. And then I feel like your husband's thing might actually bring in more money, though, which is why right now at this current moment, that's why it's good to do both. That might not be how it is forever. And then I'm going to pull 2 more cards. I'm just going to ask, in general, like, what energy should you move away from? And what energy should you move towards? And I love that. I learned that spread in my tarot course that I took. And I liked it because it was always like decision making. Instead of pulling one card for each, it's more about like, what are these milestones? Like, what are these checkers that I should use? Of what should I move away from and what should I move towards? And you should be moving away from the 5 of Swords. Gosh, it's such a pretty card. I love this deck. And it's got like gold. I got the like first printed version, so it's got like gold foil inside the cards, and on the back, so you can kind of see it like the shine of it. 5 of Swords. Hang on. My guides are telling me to look up the original imagery because I go more off the visuals. Okay. Move away from basically feeling like you're going at it alone or you're being taken advantage of. If you're ever feeling you're being taken advantage of or you're doing all of the work, this is the original 5 of Swords imagery, which is why I wanted to pull it up. Interesting how different they are, but like if you're getting into that energy with either of these jobs, that's kind of what we want to move away from. We want to make sure that you're not doing everything, that somebody else is taking advantage of you or hurting you. Like, I feel like this could be you in either situation. Either you're handling all the swords and, doing all the work, or you're being left behind and you're having to walk away because you're sad and burnt out, What you should be moving into, though, is the 6 of Pentacles. This is kind of, to me, moving into the energy of solving your financial problems. And like, not saying that you have like major financial problems, but it's like this empowerment of like, no, I'm going to tackle this and I'm going to find a way to provide for myself. She gives me like Gaia energy. There's like koi, which I don't know if this is for sure, but I'm hearing that they're a symbol of abundance. And the 6 of Pentacles is kind of sometimes about like the struggle behind, bringing these practical things manifest, bringing the money, the job, the stability to fruition. But there's something about this woman standing alone and being like, I make it happen. I kind of feel like the challenge is more with yourself of how do I, bring about this abundance. It's not necessarily how do I help my husband or how do I get taken advantage of. What pushes you into stepping into more of an abundant life? And that might mean there are challenges that come with it. It might not be easy. That's ultimately what's going to make it better in the long run. I hope that makes sense. Because then you're not, going over the same lessons over and over again. All right. Thank you, Annalise. Thank you, everyone who donated tonight. There were so many of you. I'm so glad I gave the reminder so that you guys could know when I was on. Because last time, not the time that I was sick, but before that, I feel like a lot of people just missed me because it was unclear when I was going to be on. Scrolling down. My inner role troll. What? Oh. Raise your hand if you're being too hard on yourself. It's the repetition of compassion card. Good night, Angelica. Thanks for stopping in. Hello, Lucinda. All right, I think we're going to be done with the readings for tonight. We're just going to hang out just for a little bit longer. I'm kind of like super wanting to go in and finish watching Stranger Things. I'm like, everything keeps happening to where I can't like finish it. I'm just like so excited. My husband was basically on a weekend-long bachelor party this last weekend, so I had to wait for him to watch it. And then he got home, and then I had readings, and then we had other things that kept popping up. And I'm just like, I just want to finish the show. It's so good. Anyway, so this is the Ashelon Oracle. Again, if you want to see it more in depth, check out like Chaz and even the D&D related side, because it comes with both like an oracle card guidebook and like a character creation book. So there's two different like things. But you can see that video in my community page tab, and that is my husband's YouTube channel. So if you happen to like gaming, tabletop RPG stuff, definitely subscribe. He's trying to get the whole YouTube thing going too as well. But yeah, I overall, besides pulling the compassion card 200 times, I like this deck. I personally, it's not my favorite artwork style. I know people are totally like, this kind of gives me the Art Nouveau, kind of feel, which I think he was going for, but it's also like steampunk. It's not like my favorite style, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just artwork that I think is very specific to certain tastes. But I think they're very easy to read intuitively. I kind of don't like cards that have like sentences on them or multiple sentences, because there's not like a lot of room for interpretation. But this, like we pulled the wishes card a few times, or we pulled some cards a few times, but it's like I can read them differently. I was pulling out a card to give you an example. Stop it. Does anybody have cards out right now? Do you want to pull a card on what's going on? Why does this card just want to stick out? Here, I'm just going to, while we chat, I'm going to pull up his QR code. Because, like, at this point, I'm just wondering if I'm clearly, like, missing something. Like, if you pull a card over and over again, it's usually that you might be missing something. So I can show you. There's the Oracle deck. You can just click it. It's totally free. It's like a PDF file that you download. Which, honestly, I don't think you should be giving it away for free. What is this? The Court of Love. Hang on. I just got to figure this out because this is ridiculous. of love. Number 5, compassion. Oh, cool. And he's even got like descriptions for the character. Trixie Covington is a crew member of the airship Intrepid. Her primary duty is to care for the animals transported in the hold, keeping them calm and safe during the flight. Compassion comes in many forms: kindness to others, charity, and taking care of those in need whenever they have 2 legs or many. Take a moment to look inward. Is compassion towards others part of your daily routine? Is there someone in your life who could use a little bit more compassion? Is it possible that the perpetually grumpy gentleman at the office just needs a friendly smile and a genuine inquiry as to how he is? A smile and warm greeting can work miracles. In this busy, nonstop world, it's important to be compassionate to yourself as well. Acknowledge all that you do and give yourself permission to pamper yourself in whatever form that may take. A quiet walk through the park, a warm bath, a good book, seeing a play with friends, or a nice dinner with someone close to you. Do something that brings you bliss. Remember that it's all right to put yourself first sometimes. And he's got a quote from the Dalai Lama. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Just kind of like so you can see what that guidebook looks like if it wants to focus. Stranger Things. I have that all the time. The same card over and over. I'm clearly missing something from it. I thought that maybe something in that guidebook would stick out, but I don't feel like it. Maybe I just needed to read it for somebody out there, but it'll probably like hit me in an hour. And I'm like, oh, you guys. Just like, there's a few of you that are in my $11 tier on Patreon. You get the group reading every month. And in the middle of that reading, like a blue jay flies and lands outside this window right here. And I tried to move my camera and capture it. And I tried to move it this way and capture it. And I totally missed it. And I never got it on camera. But I ended up checking my garage camera, like my security camera. And I'll just show it to you guys. I caught her on the security camera. And I thought I could just upload a clip of it to Patreon, but it wouldn't let me. I was like, I'm not going to do that. But will it replay? Oh, no, that's not the one I want. But look, she like comes and she looks straight at the camera. And in the reading, I basically look up what a blue jay meaning is. So I just wanted to share that for some of you because I didn't want to upload that whole 5-second clip as its own video to YouTube, but know that she was there. Oh, I love it. What's the app called? What app? Patreon? Unless I'm missing a conversation. The Moon and Judgment. I'm so lost. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to mention? That was the Ashelon Oracle. I'm going to now add it to my bajillions of cards over here. I did a card clean out, though, and I kind of feel good about what I have. Like, I don't feel like there's anything that doesn't resonate with me. I feel pretty good about all the cards that I have now. There's still, like, 1 or 2 more that I want to change out. Like, I still have the bootleg copy. I don't know if bootleg is the right word, but I can't think of the right word, of Moonology. I really want the real version of this with like the guidebook, but I think that's the only one I need to like replace. Oh, you told me to pull a card. Yes. Okay. But I'm still learning. What's the King of Wands reversed? So the King of Wands. So Wands is about passion, inspiration, excitement. It's kind of that fire and the drive. Like when you think of wands, you know, they're fire. They shoot fire. And so that's kind of what the suit of wands is. You start with the suit, and then the king is somebody who embodies all the other court cards. And the court cards are the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. And so the page is all about fresh ideas, new energy. The knight is all about movement, action. The queen is all about inner work, like pausing to do the inner work around something. And the king combines all of that. So the king is, we're talking about passion, we're talking about excitement, inspiration, but in a sense of like, I'm bringing in new ideas, I'm taking action on them, I'm also doing the inner work behind, whatever it is that I'm addressing. So I'm the king of it. I hope that makes sense. That's how I was kind of taught to read what that card is. So King of Wands, in a nutshell, is just being like super in tune with your passion and inspiration, I would say, and acting on it. And so what was the question? The question is, why is the compassion card coming out? Because we're all very in tune with, we're all very inspired tonight. Actually, that's how I would take it. We're all very inspired. We're all very connected. And the message of compassion just needs to come in over and over again because we're listening, because we're inspired by what's happening. Sometimes I think we listen and we're like, okay, whatever, that's not for me. The moon in judgment, I would say that the moon card is all about looking at what's hidden. So maybe we're asking ourselves, where am I not being compassionate with ourselves? That makes sense. Judgment is about giving like second chances or second life to things. So maybe we need to come back to compassion, give it to ourselves, give it to other people, give other people second chances. That makes sense. I love your card cleanouts. Yeah, because Karen basically got to profit off of it. I hope you're enjoying my old deck. Yeah, Karen got one of my old decks. I'm going to have to sit there, though. I feel like there is maybe still one that I want to get rid of. I can't decide, though. It was reversed. Yeah, and you kind of have to set the intention ahead of time on if you read the reversal. So the reverse means, maybe we're not paying attention to our inspiration, our passion. Maybe we're not bringing in new, fresh ideas, not doing the inner work, not taking action. It could be that. Explore self-compassion, work through lack of self-compassion. That then reflects our relationship. That makes sense, yeah. I love it too. It's so accurate. Oh, I'm glad. Yay, Yurika! Oh my gosh, we haven't seen you forever. Also, Yurika, I've seen that you've done some live videos. That's so awesome. You guys have to go jump over to her channel and give Yurika some love. She's doing live videos too. I wanted to catch some of them and pop in, but I always, I never get notifications for them, even though I'm subscribed to you. It's like, shouldn't I get notifications? I don't know. Anyways, Yurika's making it big. I think unfortunately, no, I'm jumping off. Let's see. Is there any other things I wanted to mention? Catch me next time, 2 weeks from tonight. We're going to be doing another live night. It'll be our summer solstice night. Basically, I'm going to be doing YouTube lives every other Tuesday. So that's how you can remember it. If you're not for sure when that's going to be, check out my events page. I'm also going to try to start giving those little premieres ahead of time so that you can see, oh, she's going to be on this date. I'm going to hit that notification bell. Follow me on Facebook. We also have a psychic development group on there, which I'm surprised my Astro Dice video was not very popular. It makes sense, though. I think a lot of people don't have Astro Dice, but I threw up some Astro Dice practice pictures in the Facebook group today, so you can practice. Also on Instagram, that's kind of where I let you guys know the most up-to-date stuff, especially my stories. I know I'm spammy with my stories, but if you want to know what I'm thinking 24/7, that's where to follow me. And then also I'm on Patreon too now, you guys. That's where our memberships are. If you want even more content from me, you're going to get a member live every single month. You're also going to get a big group reading from me every single month. You also get a Q&A video. Lots of content on there, including early access to these videos. I also have a podcast. The podcast is kind of turning into non-psychic development things. It's sort of psychic related, but it's just the things that I want to talk about that I feel like I can't talk about on my channel because my channel is very how to. But I feel like I've had some pretty good topics over there if you want to listen. And I will say 2 of the ones that I want to record, one of them is going to be about like friendships soon, like female friendships. I really kind of didn't want to do that for the longest time, but my guides have been really pushing me to do it. And I think that's because there's a lot of people that have been through similar situations that kind of maybe need to hear my story, is what I've been told. And then I'm also going to do a podcast on just anxiety, because I feel like a lot of us struggle with anxiety, including myself. I feel like I've kind of, I do not say at all that I've mastered it, but I've figured out some tools and things that work for me. And I want to share it with all of you, especially if you experience anxiety in any sense of the word. And so those 2 podcasts are going to be coming up soon. If there's anything that you guys want to hear me talk about in a podcast setting, like let me know, shoot me a message, leave me a comment. I think I have like a list here of some of the ideas. Oh, it's down here. Some of the ideas that you guys gave me for podcasts. But I feel like I've gone through the majority of them. So I kind of just talk about whatever, and yeah, whatever I want to talk about. We'll see if you guys like it, but I had no idea you watched them. I haven't watched them all, like I'll be honest. I just saw that you did a couple and I like skimmed through one of your most recent ones. Cause like, oh, that's so cool. But yeah. I keep trying to catch it live, but it doesn't give me notifications. So, Yurka, if you're ever like disappointed about people not showing up, just know that maybe YouTube is just not prioritizing you, and you'll get there. Not as like a demotivational thing, but as like a you're not doing anything wrong. Sometimes YouTube works against us. Yeah, her channel, basically, if anybody has a channel, it's usually their same username. Curious about the friendship one. Yes, basically, I'm going to talk about female friendships and the struggles that I have had with them. And it has like a point of, kind of, I've really been taking like a break from friends, and I shouldn't say that like I'm like no friends, but I kind of had like a big falling out with a friend, and after that I was like I don't want to get into a friendship anymore. I want to break. And then since then I've kind of been realizing you can have online friends, which is like you guys, and that's where the podcast will end up, is just understanding that sometimes you almost make better friends with people remotely. I'm not saying that that's like a hard and fast rule, but obviously I still need to think out the podcast and like kind of outline it. But what was my point with that? Just that sometimes I think sometimes we beat ourselves up because we're like, oh, I've never actually met them. I've never actually talked to them. They're just an online friend. But I think we don't give those relationships enough credit. You know what I mean? And I think I want to give more validity to the community that we've created here, if that makes sense. Because I have gotten to know some of you a bit more individually, just because we chat every now and then. Not everybody. I can't respond to everyone's DMs. That's getting harder and harder as it goes. But yeah. But I also just want to talk about it because I feel like I've been through a lot of relationships where I feel like I could see it from the outside and knew what needed to happen to fix it, but the other person was often not willing to fix it either. And I think there's a lot of good lessons on boundaries and kind of discernment with other people, and just kind of how women treat each other in general and what society says women relationships have to be like, It made a big difference getting the notification. Yes, I will make sure. I was like, why don't I schedule my videos? Like, I know exactly when I'm going to live next. I can put it up at any time. So dumb. Anyway. If you're ever in New York City, the Silly Rabbit is here. Yes, I want to travel more. My husband has been talking about Tokyo nonstop. He wants to actually like buy a house in Japan, and I'm kind of like, oh, let's think about it. But I actually was in New York like several times in like 2017, 2018. But I will let you guys know if I'm ever in an area. For example, I'm going to be in Missouri, which I don't think very many of you are in Missouri. I'm going to be in Missouri in August teaching some workshops. There are actually a few of you that follow me. I don't think anybody here tonight, but a few followers from Missouri. I'm teaching a workshop. I'm going to be in Florida in September, but honestly, I have no time for meetups because we are doing Disney. We are doing Disney from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed. No meetings unless you're gonna come meet me in downtown Disney or something and have a drink. Like, I'm cool with that. But I'll always let you guys know. Again, like long-term goals. One day I would love to have like a women's retreat, like where you basically like pay to go to a really fancy place and it's like a weekend of intuitive classes. Maybe I'm teaching, maybe a couple other teachers are teaching, and it's like you pay for like a women's retreat. You see them all the time. They look so cool. I saw one that was like a witchy goddess retreat, and they took a bunch of women out to a Scottish castle, and they had the whole castle rented. You had to pay, but you got accommodations. They fed you, and you just did witchy shit the whole weekend. And I was just like, that looks like amazing. I've seen it so many times. Again, long-term goals, I think it will happen, but it's something that like I need to have a pretty big following to know that I could sell tickets like that. And I need to meet some other teachers that would be willing to like, actually I know of a few, but anyways. It doesn't matter. We are all souls chatting. Yes. Also consistency. Oh, with YouTube? Yeah. For me, it was from men, though. Tokyo. Can there be a spot in there, too? Yes. Like, really, the ones I've seen, like, business retreats where, like, it's like, oh, come do a bunch of workshops, and it looks so boring and awful and tedious. Really, I want the ones where, like, you know, you do a couple workshops, but then mostly it's just go to the pool, go hang out, have a drink, you know, get a massage. Like, you have those things available. Get some Reiki. I want it to be luxurious. I've seen one in California too, where they have like all of these like Airbnb kind of like huts set up, and you can rent out the huts, and it's just a yoga retreat. I'm not like a huge fan of yoga, but I just love the aesthetic and the setup. They look so cool, but I need like a location. I need a few other teachers. I guess I could do it now, but my goal right now is to get my master class up. That's kind of my big like business goal at the moment. And then we'll focus on that in the future. If you do a workshop thing, I want to do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master. Yes, that would be awesome. Again, like no current plans, but it's there. I mean, I'm sort of, you know, I'm kind of in a way doing it in August in Kansas City. I'm going to, it's like a farm, a sacred farmland. So it's kind of like farmy in the sense of like, you know, there's like goats and donkeys and things, and it's more of like, you know, the Midwest. But the way they have it set up is there's a lot of camping spots, a lot of bunk houses. And the classes that she offers, she does like weekend things, and they'll have various metaphysical events. And when I say she, this is my mother-in-law. So I think I'm not giving it as much credit because it's my mother-in-law, but I'm basically doing this already. It's just not me hosting it. I'm just like one of those outside like people coming in, if that makes sense. So interesting food for thought. Lauren needs to get around why she's blocked about this, you know. Then at night, arrive in a cloak with lanterns going down the stairs of castle. I mean, that's basically what it looked like. They'd filmed it, you know, for marketing purposes later. And I was like, oh, they were like up in a tree. They were all like sitting in trees. And it was just, it looked so fun. Goats. Yeah, we're literally talking to the goats. We're going to do an animal communication workshop. It's just going to be like an introductory thing for like an hour and a half. But they have farm animals, and so the farm animals are there, and I'm going to use them as an example. We're going to connect with those farm animals while we're there. Anyways, that I don't know how I got on that subject, but This week's video is going to be about your personal reading space and what that looks like and how the place in which you do psychic intuitive work. You don't even have to be reading other people. You could just be doing exercises, like how the energy of that space can affect your psychic ability and can affect your reading. So I'm going to talk about basically all of the reading spaces that I've had in the past, how they did or didn't work, and then basically the reading space that I have now, which is this shed area. So that's going to be this week's video. I don't know. What is next week's video? I've got it right here. Ooh, next week's video, we're going to talk about psychic attacks. Mostly because I saw another psychic company that sells kind of like psychic courses, but they do it from a very fear-based place. They're saying like, take our courses so that you can avoid psychic attacks. And it's very like, I don't know, they're preying on people's fears and they're kind of saying, hey, you can get attacked, you can get taken advantage of, and that's why you need to buy our stuff. And that just ethically does not sit well with me. And I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I think I'm being psychically attacked. What do I do? So I want to address that topic, and that's going to be next week's video, because a lot of people are scared of psychic attacks, but they're not as scary as you think they would be. Oh, hell no. Trust me, you guys know my videos. It's basically me being like, no, this isn't how it works. That's the Virgo in me, always having to say how it works. In actuality, I don't always know, but I feel like I have semi-confidence. I don't know. Alrighty, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed checking out the Ashelon Oracle tonight. I had fun chatting with you guys. Seeing you all has been so long. I know I missed the last one because I was sick. And then, I mean, geez, it's probably been a month since I've seen everybody. You know, again, we see each other more on the Patreon. Yeah, it's been a while. I will be back, though, in 2 weeks. It will be summer solstice that night. And you're actually going to get the next Sabbath video within the next 2 Sabbaths right after that. So we will have had... the first, I would catch up on that Sabbath video if you haven't already watched it, and that one was Imbolc is the first one, and then Spring Equinox, that was the first 2. Then this next one is going to be Beltane, which already happened. I've already filmed that, and then the summer solstice. So it's going to be, you're going to get 4 of those videos this year. You're basically getting 2, 2, 2, and 2. There's 8 total Sabbaths. So I'm excited. I'm excited to film that one because so much has happened, even in the space between Beltane and Letha, Beltane and Summer Solstice. And you guys obviously haven't seen Beltane yet, but I know what was filmed, and I'm just very excited to do that video. Anyways, thank you guys. I'm going to go watch Stranger Things. I love you all. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and I will see you when my video premieres on Saturday morning. Alrighty. Good night. I always say this is the awkward part.